you put in the work, like eventually, like the work is gonna show. Eventually, the work is gonna show, but you have to put in the work. Like it's very simple.
Right,
What am I
because
gonna do with it?
you're not developed at the end of the day. Like I talk about so many times, like exposure or getting exposed. Like there's a lot of these young kids that want to play in front of college coaches. You want to do this, you want to do that, and you're setting yourself up to get exposed.
Say good things happen for good people. Like if you put in the work, then you're deserving of the good things that happen because of the work. Nothing worth having comes easy. If I'm gonna play basketball, I'm gonna play with the passion that I've always played with. I'm not gonna play 1 foot in and 1 foot out. That's, people say they want something and they don't. The work doesn't match. Like,
as you can see on the screen, you're gonna go to ashleyandroberts.com. Yes, you can see everything else I have to offer, but for now we're talking about the merch. Click the top right and click on apparel. You're going to see that we have 3 different crew neck options: white, red, and pink. And all of those have different colors. So if you click on the white one, we have one with pink letters, and then we have one with red letters. Pick your favorite, whichever one you're going with. I'm going to go with the red letters probably. Once you click out of that, you can click on the red one. And on the red crew neck, we have white letters. We also have pink letters, and we also have a red on red. That red on red has become a favorite. Lastly, we have the pink crew, and on our pinks, we have the white letters, and we also have the pink letters. Of course, you're gonna select your size, hit add to cart. You can read all of that if you want to read all of those things. Hit add to cart. I must say that the print is also puff print, so it's going to stand out a little bit more. Once you hit add to cart, you're going to check out. There is taxes, all those good things. You're going to check out and put all of your information, shipping address, all of those different things so that you can get your merch before Valentine's Day. Again, if you place your order by January 28th, which is when the store is closing, you will have your merch by Valentine's Day. All orders will be shipped out on February 5th. Welcome to It's Just Different podcast, where we bring on people who have been where you are trying to go and or have helped countless athletes get there. Today, we have yet another special guest, and I gotta redeem myself from reading the last guest bio. So I'm gonna read again, and I'm gonna do a much better job than I did last time. We have Joanne Allen-Taylor, who is from Houston, Texas, played basketball at the University of Texas, Hook 'em Horns, graduated from School of Engineering with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. She was academic All Big 12 and awarded Big 12 Scholar Athlete of the Year her junior year of college. Was a part of 2 consecutive NCAA Elite 8 teams with the second team All Big 12 recognition in her senior year. She was also a part of the 3v3 USA Women's Series. She was a team member, as well as shortly playing professionally in Puerto Rico and Switzerland. Currently, she is obtaining her master's degree in finance from the McCombs School of Business. Let's welcome Joanne Allen-Taylor. What is going on?
Not much, just studying, trying to get my master's, but yeah, just enjoying life right now.
Enjoying the post grad.
Yeah, I guess I feel I can't say post grad anymore because like it was like a year ago.
That's true. Now we getting right into it. Finance. So you first of all graduated in school of engineering. That's pretty dope. Now going into finance. Why? What are we doing here? What made you want to go back and get your master's?
Yeah, it's because I don't know. I kind of felt a bit like disconnected from engineering because I was hooping and I loved playing basketball. I loved it with all of my heart. So I gave all of my attention to it, and like studying engineering, like you can't like give your attention to basketball completely and then be really committed to engineering. So I felt like I was 1 foot in, 1 foot out with engineering. So when I graduated, I felt like I don't really want to do this long term. And luckily I met my mentor who works in finance and wealth management. And I got really interested in learning about, different careers in finance. And I want to get into banking and shortly after. Hopefully, I can get into venture capital investing, and one day I can own my own WNBA team. And so,
Ooh.
so finances, I think it's so diverse and broad, and I think it just fits me more because I feel like I have a business acumen. I like learning about companies, investing, and stuff like that. So
That's dope. That's dope. We're gonna take it a little step back. I was just very, very curious about this finance masters. But we start this podcast
yeah.
always asking, what's different? The name of the podcast is It's Just Different Podcast. And I like to ask the guests, what do they think is different, whether that's good or bad? So what do you
Mhm.
think is different in the women's game now than it was
Mm.
back then, whenever back then was?
That's a great question. Um, I just feel like the game right now, as it is, like girls, young women are more able to express themselves. Like,
Mm,
yes, like they're on a team, but like I feel like things are shifting to more like individualized. Um, like women are able to show like rep what they rep or like wear what
mm-hmm.
they want to wear. And they're just it's more individualized than it was when I was playing. I feel like everything was like about the team, like okay, the girls
Mm-hmm.
have to wear the same thing, like
Yeah.
you can't like post this on social media. Now everybody has their own deals, they have their own NIL stuff going, so it's like more individualized. That's what I was saying.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay, I like that. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, played at the University of Texas, Hook 'em Horns. I want to take
Oh.
us back. Yes, I want to take us back. How did Joanne get to the University of Texas? Like, what did that look like? What was your journey like?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. So I felt like my sophomore year, I only had like a few mid-major offers, and that's when I switched my AAU team. Um, and I can't even remember the AAU team I played for. Honestly, I switched from Cy-Fair to a different AAU team, and it's slipping my mind right now. I don't know why, but and that's when I felt like I was surrounded by more talented like girls that had multiple offers that could really push me, like
Mm-hmm.
that were better than me. And it's good to surround yourself with people that are better than you because you naturally get better. And I just started working, getting in the gym like a lot, constantly, like maybe five out of 7 days a week. I was always working out. And,
Mm-hmm.
I picked up a trainer, and things just became more easier in terms of like playing and doing different things on the court that I wanted to do. And luckily, like come my junior year, that's when I started getting the recognition that I felt like I deserved and I had
Mm-hmm.
worked for. And I got a lot of offers. And when Texas offered me, I remember, I remember the feeling that I had when they offered me, because I was like, man, like I just remember watching like Brooke and Ariel on
Mm-hmm.
TV. Like it's crazy that they want me to play for them, and it was a blessing. And I went on a few like official visits, but like I always knew like, man, I'm going to Texas. Like
Yeah.
I'm staying home. I'm going to Texas. Like this is where my heart is. And man, it took a lot of work, but like I feel like if I could do it, I feel like anybody can do it. That's my feelings around it. If I can make it, then anybody can. Yeah.
That's a fact. And so I know, did you play with Steve Barber or was he your trainer?
Yes, we played with Steve Barber, but like I can't remember we're AD Elite. That's what we were called.
Yeah, AD
They
Elite.
He switched his name to like Texas Flight or
Flight.
something.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Steve
Yeah.
Barber. Shout out to Texas Flight in
Yes.
Houston,
Yeah.
Texas. Yeah,
Yes.
so
He's
you were with Cy-Fair with Earl?
hmm yes, I was with Earl, but I was playing for like their second team. I wasn't playing for like their Nike team. So I wasn't getting like the looks, but I still got offers. Like I
Yeah.
remember my first offer was Rice, and I was really happy. But like I knew I could, do more. I knew I could, play with, the most talented people in the country. So I
Mhm.
switched to Steve, and like Steve, he instilled that confidence in me. Like I remember he always said, when you're open, shoot 11 out of 10 times. Always shoot the ball when
That
you're
means shoot every
open.
single time.
And he put
that's a
that
good
confidence
point.
in me. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it changed my life basically. So yeah.
Man, like that's really a good point though. Now, before I go into
Mhm,
this, all these EYBL
mhm,
programs, all these Adidas programs, all these shoe circuit programs, don't come for me, okay? Don't come for me. But that is a good point. Like you were with Sci-Fair, that's an EYBL program, but wasn't
mhm,
on the top team. Like who helped you,
mhm,
I guess, in that decision? Because I feel like a lot of kids, like this is happening now. There's a lot of kids that
mhm,
are going to these shoe circuit teams, and it's nothing against these shoe circuit teams, but they're
mhm.
either on the top team and barely playing, or they on the second, the third, the fourth team, thinking they're gonna get the same thing. So, like, who helped you make that
Yeah.
decision? How did you just ultimately, like I said, make that decision because you had offers?
Yeah. Like I was saying, like I was on the second team, but I still, you know, I still felt like I could compete with some of the girls that were in my district, like and I, recognized like LaShawn was playing with Cypher, Dee was playing Chaz,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew those names, and like we would play against each other in high school, like, in
Right.
our on our teams, and I was like, I'm competing with them. So like
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely like find a popular team that's not on the EYBL circuit and play for like their top team. So Steve was popular like when I was when I was playing at
Yeah,
AU.
AD Elite
Like
had some
people would
hoopers.
exactly he like Jordan Hosey,
Mm-hmm.
Brianna, like they were all working out with him, and Jalen, Richard Harris. Like, so I knew about like, them working out with Steve, and he was forming his team. And I was like, okay, I'm finna go to a workout and see what he has to say about my game and see if I can join his team. And I just went to a workout. My mom took me to the workout, and he was like, yeah, you could enjoy. Steve is such, like, I love him. He's such a great person because like as soon me, I was scared, like, oh, I don't know if he's gonna allow me to be on his team. His energy is not even like on that type of time. Like
Mm-hmm.
he was like, of course. Like, what do you mean? You like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can join. Yes, you can be a part of it. Like he just cares about the work, and I just really appreciate him because he welcomed me with open arms, and he really changed the way my mentality around getting in the gym and being passionate about working out. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so it was an easy transition from that process, definitely.
Yep. Now, that was your sophomore year. What did Joanne
Mhm.
look like from sixth grade to her sophomore year? What was that journey like?
Yeah. Yeah, sixth grade, like, man, I was so naive, but I love the game. I love the game. I was so passionate about the game. I remember like being on my middle school team, and the other girls wouldn't understand why I'm so angry that I fouled out of the game or something, or like how I react because I was so passionate. Like even from a very young age, I was so passionate about basketball. I love working out. I love going to the little tournaments. I love competing from a young age. From sixth grade, I remember just
Mm-hmm.
being so competitive, and it just fueled the whole process. Like I love to win. It doesn't matter what we're doing. Like I want to be the winner. And yeah, so sixth grade basketball, the AAU circuits for my neighborhood team that we played the local tournaments and stuff. And yeah, from six, I really felt like a transition happened, like maybe like seventh and eighth grade,
Mm-hmm.
because that's when you can start competing in middle school for real. And then I was like, okay, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do this in college. Like I know I can do this. I remember like always watching Baylor play, and it's just so many great players that I just grew up watching in college. And now the process from middle school to high school, then I was like, okay, yeah, I'm about to do this. I'm about to lock in. You start working out with trainers and stuff like that, and that's really the process of how
Yep.
I went through it.
Now
Yeah.
you talk about the work and trainers and working out and all these different things. Like you went to Texas, that's a big deal. Like Power Five
Yeah.
school. There's a lot of kids that want the same thing, but me
Mhm.
personally, I don't think that they yeah, I don't think that they really realize the work that go into it. Like I think a lot of parents and a lot of kids think like either I'm good, they're gonna come find me, or whatever, or I'm playing on this team, they gonna come. But
Mhm.
it doesn't look like that. So like for you, what did the work look like?
Yeah. And it just bothered me that you mentioned it. It just bothers me when like people say they want something and they don't, the work doesn't match.
Mm-hmm.
Like my work was always gonna match my dreams. Like I was always outside, like on my leaning hoop, broken down hoop outside on the driveway. I was always working. I was always dribbling the basketball. And man, it was the work is it's something you just have to love, because if you
Mm-hmm.
don't love it, like it's just it's gonna fade away. It's gonna fade in the background. It's gonna, like when things are not going your way in games, you're just gonna like you're just gonna fade away, if that makes sense. But when your work is solid, when things don't go your way, you can have a foundation to fall back on. Like, oh, I'm not shooting the ball well, like I'm gonna get in the gym. Like I'm gonna get in the gym till I shoot the ball well. I'm gonna get in the gym till it works. And I feel like people overlook that dedication. Like so many people are in people's ear and like make it so complicated, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so simple to me. Like you put in the work, like eventually, like the work is going to show. Eventually the work is going to show, but you have to put in the work. Like it's very simple.
Yep. No, I love it. When did you get your first offer?
My first offer was my sophomore year
Okay, so
of
was
high
that the
school.
was that Rice or was that one
Rice.
you were just so okay, so Rice was your first offer.
Mhm.
Your
Yeah,
sophomore
that's when I was playing first.
was that your sophomore year going into your junior year or your yeah, was that your
Yes,
sophomore
that's
year
when
going into your junior year? Okay.
yes. Hmm.
Yeah. So like that's another thing like a lot of what we talking about is really like the reason I started the podcast. Like really for parents to understand, players to understand like one, everybody's race, like everybody's journey is their own and to run your own race. Like you finished at the
Hmm.
University of Texas, didn't get your you got your first offer your sophomore year, which is like a good time. But a lot of kids and parents think like, oh, I should be getting this in the seventh grade, in the sixth grade, and eighth grade. And it's like that's far few in between at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you know. And it's like if I don't get this offer around this time, I'm playing for the wrong team. And it's like, no, you're just young. Like
Mm,
you're just in the seventh
exactly.
grade.
You're yes. That doesn't I can't even fathom that, because like in seventh grade, I wasn't even the player that like I wasn't even the player
That's
that I,
it.
wanted to be and could be. Like you don't really start to blossom till like, you go through things. And like I can't even imagine getting an offer in seventh grade. Like
Right,
what am I
because
gonna do with
you're not developed at the end of the day.
that?
Like I talk about so many times like exposure or getting exposed. Like there's a lot of these young kids that want to play in front of college coaches. You want to do this, you want to do that, and you're setting yourself up to
Mm,
get exposed at the end of the day. Like your
mm,
body ain't ready
yes.
for it. You really want a
Yes.
college
Oh
coach
my.
to see you in the seventh grade versus what you look like as a sophomore and a junior?
Exactly. Exactly. It's such a transition, and like I feel like that's just like just a social media thing now. Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants what everybody else is getting, but like, and I'm thankful for like kind of growing up in the process where social media wasn't as big as it is today, because like it just allows you to focus on your own race. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing else to look at. I mean, you just put in the work, and things will come, or things will happen, the way they're supposed to happen. I like to say good things happen for good people. Like if you put in the
Ooh.
work, then you're deserving of the good things that happen because of the work. So I like social media, like you said, like people think they're supposed to be getting what somebody else is getting, like, and that's not how life works. You get what you deserve, and you get what you earn at the end of the day.
Lord, you done gave me 3 titles for this episode. I don't know if it's run your own race, good things happen to
Mhm.
good people, or you get what you deserve. Those, that's it. That's it right there. Now, earlier
Yeah.
you talked about like you had all these different offers. You knew
Hmm.
that when you got Texas, you wanted to stay
Hmm.
home. But like, was there anything
Yeah.
else or was that just it? Like, because you're from Houston. Houston could have been home.
Yeah.
Like, why
Yeah.
did you ultimately pick Texas?
Texas has a feeling of elite,
Oh.
plus the education, plus the education is top tier. So like I always knew I wanted the best of both worlds. I wasn't just going to go to any school that was going to put me in any degree, because I'm more than just a hooper, you know what I'm saying? Like um so I knew Texas, like it didn't matter where I was like taking visits. I was like, man, in the back of my head I was like, to play for the namesake of my state, like that will mean the world to me. That feels like legacy to me. That feels like impact to me. And I wanted to be a part of something that was bigger than me, that was gonna push me. Like I saw all the players on the roster. I was like, man, like I remember 2 years ago, like thinking like I can't even compete with these people. Like these girls are elite, and I wanted to be a part of something that was elite.
I love it. I love it. Now, going to Texas, being there, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but you got your degree in
Mhm.
engineering. At the
Mhm.
end of the day, most of us
Mhm.
athletes, we get in physical culture and sports. We get in just
Yeah.
something just to, just so that we can have that degree. Engineering,
Yeah.
how in the heck did you do that? Did you know that I have two books? One called The Little Girl with Big Dreams. It's about an ambitious little girl who overcomes every no to say yes to a dream. The other is called Changing Lanes. It teaches you about the things that you learn from sport and how it translates to life after sport. Be sure to check these out at itsjustdifferentpod.com. Let's get to the episode.
Oh man, I like to say that God got me through. He really did. He really did. It was such a hard thing to balance, and I don't know why I put myself through that. Like I remember like in high school, like I was always in, like the top classes, and like the smartest people are in the classes, and I never wanted to feel like, oh, I'm just an athlete in the
Mm-hmm.
class. Like I was going to compete with the smartest people in the class. And a lot of them were, going to college, and they were doing engineering, they were doing some science based, degree. And I was like, man, I can do engineering. Like, I'm good at math, I'm really good at calculus, and I can do engineering. So when I got to Texas, and Texas has one of the top engineering schools in the country, let alone Texas. And I was like, okay, let me see. Let me see what A has to say about it. Cause like, when you say like, okay, like I'm gonna do engineering and basketball, they're like,
Mm,
no, you're
nah,
not.
not
No, you're not.
happening. That's a fact.
So let me,
That's a known
yeah.
fact.
So, yeah, it is. It is. So when I brought it to KA, and she was like, okay. She was like so on board. She was like, okay, we'll make it work. Just tell me what you need. We'll make it work. And that wasn't the case with a lot of schools that I was talking to. They were like, are you sure? Like, that's a hard thing to do, blah, blah, blah. And KA was like, okay, I'm gonna get you the connections. I'm gonna, get you to speak with some of the people. Like she was so involved and on board with what I wanted to do off the court. So that kind of was a part of my process in getting into engineering. And balancing throughout 4 years was a whole nother process. But yeah, that's probably why I picked it, because I wanted to do it, and KA was behind me so much.
Yeah. Shout out to KA. KA is Karen Aston, if you don't know.
Yes.
Was at the University of Texas and currently at UTSA doing a great job. I do want to talk about like the balance of it because there are a lot of kids like that now, like I said, and I say us, just us athletes in general. It was just
Mhm.
honestly easy. Like, oh, I just want to do physical culture and sports, or I just want to do the easiest thing. But that's not the case
Mhm.
with kids nowadays. Like there are
Mhm.
kids like really looking at like, do they got nursing? Do they got this? Do they got that? And I want to be able to, like you said, the best of both worlds. I want to be
Yeah.
able to do that and play
Mhm.
basketball. But we
Mhm.
know, like we've been through it, that it's hard. It's
Mhm.
very, very hard. So how were you able to balance that? Like what were some things that you did to
Yeah.
be able to do that?
Yeah. I like to s- I like to say it's hard for me to explain how I do it, because like I feel like I'm a bit different, but then I feel like anybody can do it, because it's a simple formula. Like you're if you want to succeed in life, you're going to put in the work. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
very simple. Like you're going to sacrifice, you're going to you're going to do everything you can to make it work. And I
Mm-hmm.
felt like that's just who I am. Like, okay, so I have a lot going on in school. I'm gonna get it done. Like I'm gonna get it done. I'm gonna be prepared for practice. I'm gonna do everything I can to balance it. So whether that be, not being able to hang with my teammates after practice, or not being able to do stuff on the weekends, or like the little stuff, I was gonna make it happen. I was gonna make it work because I wanted to succeed. And like, it's basically in you. You know what I'm saying? If
Mhm.
you have that will inside of you, like, you can do anything. But I guess a lot of people don't have it.
Yeah.
So
And if they ain't got that mean they don't want it at the end of the day. Like you already
exactly.
said it. Like if you want
Yeah.
something, you're going to find a way and you're going to make it happen. So I mean,
Yeah.
that definitely makes sense. That I
Yeah.
mean, pretty simple.
It's
Now,
simple. Mhm.
yeah, I mean it is at the end of the day. And I ain't gonna like I'm gonna be honest, like even when I was going to Texas, I thought I
Mhm.
wanted to do accounting. And I actually,
Mhm.
so I went JUCO first, and I was actually doing like taking accounting classes at South
Yeah.
Plains, and then I thought I wanted to do accounting. Now, when I went, I mean, I'm glad that they probably didn't say yeah, do it. But when I
Mhm.
went, Randa was like, mm, "We're gonna do education." I was like, "Well, I at least need to get a minor in business." But Randa was
Mhm.
not letting me do accounting. She was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, that's not gonna work
Yeah.
with the schedule."
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. I know. I'm already knowing. Like, that's why I'm so thankful for Kay, because I know the sacrifices she put in for my schedule. Like,
yeah,
some days
it's
I had to
tough.
miss. It is hard. And man, I'm very thankful for her,
Yeah.
for
And for
sure.
anybody like that's wondering like why it's so hard and why you can't just and I won't say can't because like Joanne did and there's people that do it all the time, but why it's just difficult to be able to get certain majors is really just because of those classes. Like most times, like those classes are in the evenings. Most of basketball practice are in the evenings where you can't miss
Yeah.
practice and you also don't want to miss class. So
Yes.
like that's
Yeah.
why a lot of times you got labs. Labs are in the evening. Um, so that's why it's very, very difficult to be able to do both. And I
Yeah.
love to see
Yeah.
like when people are able to do both.
Yes, yes. No, that just reminded me. Like, I remember missing, I have to leave practice early to get to a lab that was like from 6 to 8 p.m. And Kay would work with me. Like, she would work with me. She was always supportive. She never made me feel bad.
See, I
Like,
love it because you're not gonna find too many coaches. Like that would be the
yeah,
time when they ready to throw it in your face. If you wasn't too big, like
exactly.
they ready. Let you
Exactly.
have a
No.
bad game. You gonna hear
Yes,
it.
exactly. She never threw it in my face. She always made me feel like, I have purpose, or like, it's what you're doing is good. Like, she
Hmm.
never threw that in my face. Yeah.
That's dope. I love it. Now, were there any times where you wanted to quit? Like you just wanted to be done with engineering, whether it was like it was too hard or this ain't what I want to do?
Yeah, the road wasn't easy. It
Yeah.
wasn't. It really wasn't. Especially my junior year. That's when like classes get like extra hard, and I
Hmm.
was like, man, do I really want to do this? Like, basketball's hard, engineering's hard. Like, ugh, why can't I get a break, God? Like, I feel like I'm suffering right
Yeah.
now. It was a lot. It was a lot on my shoulders, and I was like, man, like, it's gonna be worth it. I just kept reminding myself, okay, it's gonna be worth it. Like, nothing that you nothing that's worth having comes easy. I kept
Hmm.
saying that nothing worth having comes easy. So I was like, okay, I'm going to get through it. Let me just get through this class. Let me get through this semester. Let me get through this week. And just being diligent, staying prayed up, having good
Hmm.
people around you, having a good team, having good family, that all plays into it. But like, definitely, I'll say God gets the glory in that whole process, because I couldn't have done it without him, for
Yeah.
sure.
Now let me ask you, how do you feel going through all of that and then now in this current moment like you're not doing
Yeah.
anything engineering related? Like
Yeah.
how does that make you feel? How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Sometimes I think about it. I'm like, man, should I have done something like a little bit easier? Because maybe the basketball would have been easier for me to handle, and it wouldn't have taken me such a long time to really feel good playing. Because coming in as a freshman, like, your head is spinning, and then having to balance is on top of that. That was a bit much. And now that I'm not doing anything engineering related, it just kind of makes me feel like, oh, do I harbor regret? But
Hmm.
then again, I'm like, I mean, everything is gonna happen the way it's gonna happen. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to say like I shouldn't have done it, because I know the strength that I have now. I feel like I can go through so much and not be phased. I feel like, the ebbs and flows of life don't really push me in one direction or the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really, I feel like I'm purpose filled because of it. Like I can get through anything in my life. I can accomplish hard things in my life because of what I've been through. And
Because you've
I
done
feel like,
it.
yes, because I've done it. And a lot of people don't early on, like, or in college, go through challenging things or go through things that stretch them. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've been stretched in that I can accomplish anything,
Mm-hmm.
basically. Yeah.
Love it. Yep.
Yeah.
So, read in your bio that you did play overseas for a little bit. When did you play overseas?
I play after I graduated last year. I went to Puerto Rico for a little bit, and then they waived me really quickly. And then I got picked up in Switzerland, and I played there to finish out the year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was pro ball overseas. I commend all of my teammates, all of my fellow hoopers who do it, because I know what y'all go through, and it's a lot. And man, you have to be determined. You have to be really focused and really in love with the game to really do that for 8 months. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a
Let's talk
lot.
about it. Like, what
Yeah.
what are some of the things that, like, I guess hoopers in general go through it? What's the overseas life like?
I would say, from my experience, it's lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you're away from your family for the first time in that big capacity, especially if you like stayed home to play, like, or like you went a couple hours from your hometown to play. Um, it's eye opening, because when you play, especially like just like me just coming out of college, and like I know like it's a little bit different. Basketball is more individualized, and like, people have their own individual stuff going on, but like I felt like me playing, when I played, like it was very team centered, and like the mission was always like being able to sacrifice for your teammate, always, being able to do well and perform for your team. It wasn't like so much about you. And like I feel like pro ball is really eye opening, because like it's now like it's about yourself. It's about what you want from the sport, and it forces you to make a decision about your life, and like to really think like outside of the team, think outside of a bigger organization. Like, you're doing it for you, and that's different. That's
Yeah.
different. Like, it's different coming from college basketball, because you're doing it for a team. You're doing it for the girls that you're with every single day, day in and day out. But like pro ball, you're doing it for yourself. So like it kind of forces you to shift your mentality, and that's where I was kind of struggling with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what made you just be like, all right, I'm done with pro?
Yeah. It was more so like I'm away from my family. I hate being away from my family for so long. It's lonely, and then like I don't feel that same fire for
Mm-hmm.
it. And I felt like if I'm gonna play basketball, I'm gonna play with the passion that I've always played with. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not gonna play one foot in and one foot out.
Ooh.
I've never done that. I've never done that. And when I was feeling like that, I was like, okay, maybe I need to reflect on what I actually want to do. Do I want to do this long term or not? Because basketball professionally was never going to be long term for me. It's like years and years, but I wanted to do it for a couple years and see how it was. But like I was like, do you want to do it for a couple years and not enjoy it
Yeah.
like you enjoyed playing basketball all your years, or do you want to stop right now and just be done with it? And that's where my head was. I was like, let me just stop right now, because I'm not feeling how I felt when I was playing in college, and the passion towards it. And everything changes in life, like, so I don't want to like say like, okay, things won't change and like you can't adjust. Like, it was more so like I'm not feeling that love for
Yeah.
it like I did. So
And just having that passion, like, and that's hard. We've been playing basketball all our life, basically. So it's hard to just be like, oh, I'm done. Like, it's what we used
yes,
to. right?
Yes.
Like, and it's why
Yes.
so many people continue to play and continue to play because it's for a
Yes.
lot of people, it is their first love. Like,
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know,
I get it. I definitely get it. Yeah. Yeah.
so
For
that's
sure.
dope. That's dope that you were able to make that decision because it's very hard. Like I feel like obviously it's easier for people that get hurt. You know, it's
Hmm.
like, okay, I'm
Hmm.
injured, like I'm done.
Exactly.
But like if you ain't hurt or nothing like that, it's just like, dang, like do I really want to be done or do I want to give it one more
Exactly.
year? Do I want to give it one more season?
Yes. It felt like a midlife crisis in my 20s. It really felt like that. I feel like I was having an identity crisis because I
Mm,
felt like my identity was so rooted in being an athlete, being a basketball player, and thinking of myself outside of that was very challenging, was very um it weighed heavy on my heart for a while. I feel like just recently I can feel like relief, like, and
yep.
I'm okay with not playing basketball. It takes time. It does. It does.
Yep. Nah, shameless plug. I wrote my book just for what she just said. So if y'all are looking for a book to check out to help with translating sports to life, check out Changing Lanes, Using Sports as a Vehicle to Drive Success on and off the court. Links are everywhere. Go to the site, check it out. But I want to get back to AAU for a little bit.
Mhm.
Another reason of why I started, I talked about it earlier, like just parents and players not understanding. But I'm gonna be honest. AAU is a mess. I'm sorry. I'm gonna
I
say
believe it.
it. I'm going to say it. AAU is a sorry guys. AAU is a mess right now. And I just don't like to see it. And I don't want to be that negative Nancy person or whatever. There's a lot of good things happening in AAU. There's a lot of great things happening in girls basketball, period.
Hmm.
But I really do think the AAU has to be cleaned up, and it's gonna come from everybody, from parents, from players, from directors,
Hmm.
from former players, like everybody just kind of coming together to do different things to help. And that's why another reason why I started this podcast, because I do feel like part of the reason why AAU is the way it is because people just don't know. And you got so many people telling other people the wrong information. And I want to bring people that have been through it, that know what it looks like, to kind of give their feedback, to share their knowledge and the jewels that they have. So
Yeah.
like going into AAU, and I don't know how involved you are just with the AAU scene in general.
Mhm.
Um, what would you say is the biggest issue in AAU?
Man, I don't want to sound redundant, but like I really feel like social media has really ruined everything
Yeah.
in terms of AAU basketball, in terms of like posting highlights, in terms of watching other people. Like everybody's watching everybody else and they're not focused on what they're doing, in my opinion. But
Yep. And see,
man, it's
that's a good thing to talk about because like I feel like I go in between with social media because at the same time, like social media has helped so many kids get
yeah,
looks, right?
it
It has helped
has.
so many kids get looks by posting highlights, by doing the
Mhm.
different things, by reaching out. But like
Mhm.
you said, at the same time, you see Joanne over here who in the seventh grade get an offer, and then Ashley over here think like, oh, I should get this offer.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
and
yeah,
you got so I it's like I'm right there in the
yeah,
middle. Right there in
yeah.
the
That's a good point. That's a good point. I feel like I'm in the middle too. It's more so like how people prioritize it, how they
middle.
put it on their hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're too attached to it. And like you can't, of course it's really good because like people are getting looks, people are getting brand deals, people are getting NIL. Like it's a good thing. More people are watching women's basketball because of it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a good thing. But like I feel like you as the player, you as the person putting in work, you can't be attached to those things. Like
Yeah.
you have to have discernment and know like no matter what, like I'm gonna remain the same. So
Yeah, no, that's good. I think social media. I also think it's just too many teams. I think it's just
yeah.
too many teams. And you somebody get mad and they starting a
It's
team.
the failty.
Like it's too many teams, and
Yeah.
all the
Yeah.
talent is just spread out everywhere.
Mm.
Like the
Mm,
talent is hard. Like, and I'll even take like Austin for example. Like
mhm,
me being from Dallas, that's
mhm,
all I hear. Like Austin don't have no talent. Austin don't have no talent. Austin don't have no talent. And
mhm,
Austin have plenty,
mm.
plenty of talent, but
Yeah,
they own 10 different teams, and Austin is not as big as Dallas and Houston and all these other cities. Like
yeah,
you can't have all these teams and have these kids like spread out. You got two on one team, two on another team. Like
yeah,
it's crazy. It's
yeah.
absolutely crazy. So I just think like just the amount of teams, like it's
Yeah,
killing
that's a
me.
good point. I can't even imagine. Yeah, you probably see it firsthand. I can't even imagine the disbursement of talent like that because I remember like playing AU, like everybody that was good,
Was on one
you
team.
knew was going to be at this workout, was going to be on this team, like you
Yep.
knew. You knew. So it's kind of weird to see that. That's a good point. That's a
Like
really good.
literally you knew. Like I played with DFW Elite. Shout out to DFW Elite. I mean, we was good. Like we was some
Mhm.
dogs and everybody like and there was other teams, but
Yeah,
everybody knew like I mean, if you that player, you with
exactly.
DFW Elite. Like
Yes. Period. That's
that's
it.
just
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah.
But like now I don't think it's just not that way.
It's
Like
not. Yeah,
too many teams, and it's just
yeah.
chaotic. And yeah, I do hope that just get cleaned up, like for the kids. So many people say it's about the kids, or I'm for the kids, or this and that, and they really not for the
Mm-mm.
kids.
Mm-mm. No, not anymore. Maybe back in the day, but I feel like you said, people get mad. Their parents want to start their own team, or man, the trainer did this. Like, nah, it's it's so much involved now. I can't even imagine trying to even coach like right now because like coaching back then, I'm sure like you can get away with like you know like getting into a player, really digging into them. It's
Not
probably so much.
anymore.
Yeah, you can't really go there sometimes. Yeah, yeah,
Like you got people like really mad, like they
yeah.
don't. It's almost like, and I'm just speaking for some. I'm not speaking for all parents because there are some that still get it, but
Mhm.
it's just like now I feel like parents don't even want the coach to hold their kid accountable.
Mhm, mhm,
Like this
mhm.
is accountability. Like you have to
Yes,
be held accountable because that's what's gonna happen in college.
yes, yes, yes.
But
Like,
I also even think though, this same my same little middle line, like
mhm.
the transfer portal. Like I feel like it hurts and helps because I feel like it's the same thing. You can get mad and
Yeah,
you just go into the transfer portal.
mhm. Yeah, that's another good point. That man, the transfer portal, it's like a case by case basis. It's
Yeah.
crazy, but it really is though. Like some people need to leave and go find a
Mm-hmm.
better team, and then some people need to learn accountability, need to learn responsibility. So it's hard. It's hard. It's hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, if you can do anything over in AAU or anything differently, I would say, would you?
Anything differently in AAU. Man, I love playing for AD Elite. Like Steve really, he really I to this day I still miss playing for Steve because he let me like shoot the ball. He let me try different things out. If I was putting in the work, he was gonna let me do it in a game. Man, I don't think I can say I would change anything. Like I love the process. I love playing for AD. I love playing against those EYBL teams and
Mhm.
those huge FBC or F whatever.
FBC is still going
I
strong.
love playing against the best, like, and coaches will be out there to watch the FBC teams, to
Oh
watch
my!
and I would show out that game. Like, I love that. I love
Listen, the
that.
kids don't understand. Like that is it. And again, I'm not saying don't go play with these teams. Don't like. There's a lot of great teams. Pro Skills, Team Legs, SA Finance. Like there are a lot of great teams. But at the end of
Yeah,
the day, they can only have 10 or 11 people on the roster. That's it.
exactly.
That's it. Maybe 12 if they want to do 12. They can only
Mhm,
have so many kids. And that's always been my motto because I have
mhm,
great relationships with the directors, all these different people. We're just
mhm.
gonna go play against you. Like, because all
That's
these
it.
coaches, they gonna come, and that's why I always say your opportunity is your opportunity. Even if they
Yes.
not here from you for you, if you show up, I guarantee you they will be on you. Coaches need
On
players.
That's it. That's it. Like,
Like,
I loved that. I love that. I feel like that's probably how I got all my offers. Like, we would play a really good team, and I would show out, and
yep.
that's it. And the rest was history for
Yep,
sure.
I love it. I love it. Now, what advice would you give parents, like just helping their
Mhm.
kids, like ones who, in general, whether they don't understand the process or whether they do and they just need a little bit of guidance? What advice would
Yeah,
you give parents?
man, that is tough. I try to think about like how my mom was. Like,
Hmm.
sometimes you have to take your hand away. Sometimes you have to remove yourself from the situation to help your child grow, because I felt like my mom was always there, but she never inserted herself in what I was doing in terms of like the process, or struggling, or being coached hard. Like, she never inserted herself in the mix. She let me figure it out. And I think when you let your child figure it out, they're gonna find out how much they love the game.
Hmm.
And I think you can't take that away, because if you want your child to really enjoy playing basketball, you're going to let them figure out if they really enjoy playing basketball. And it's not like you hovering over them, or you making them go to a workout, or you telling them this and that. So removing yourself from the mix, I think, is like one of the biggest things in supporting your child's growth in the process.
Mm, I love
Yeah.
it. I think we ending with that. Like, this has been a really, really good, great episode. Like,
Awesome.
letting
Yeah.
these kids know, one, like for me, I think my, like I learned, like, and just like enjoy like talking to you through this episode. Like, I think the biggest thing is like really like letting kids see, like they can
Mhm.
see you, like again, like you are like in that small percent that does something other than the general type of
Mhm.
degrees, and
Yeah.
it's engineering, like that is hard, so
Yeah.
I love like the fact that like these kids and parents can hear and see somebody who done it at the highest level. Like,
Yeah.
you did it
Yeah.
playing at the University of Texas, so like kudos to you.
Thank
Like,
you. Thank you.
you
Thank you.
deserve your flowers. That is very dope.
Thank
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you got up in stores and what you want to do. Which
Yes.
we'll get to that in a minute. But we end this episode with a rapid fire. So I
Mhm.
got five things for you. As I say every episode, it's really not a rapid fire, but that's just the word that I call it. So that's what we're going with.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Would you rather play with a pass first point guard or a score first point guard?
Pass first.
Biggest ick as a player?
Missing a wide open layup.
Okay. Game winning three or a game winning and one?
Game winning three.
What? I just thought you was gonna say game winning and one. Okay, we'll go to game winning three. I was like, she gonna
Mhm.
say game winning and one. Okay.
Mm.
Build your five, and it could be either five WNBA players or five current college players. Or
Ooh.
somebody did like a former. So I'll give another one. So you can do either current WNBA players, college
Uh-huh.
players, or you can do five former players.
Okay. Um, Asia Wilson, Chelsea Gray, um, Copper, um, or Cooper. Is it Cooper?
Cooper.
Cooper, sorry, Kalia Cooper. Man, that's three. That's three. Man. Jewel Lloyd.
Okay.
Dang. Ariel Atkins. I love Ariel.
Okay. Okay. We're going with Ariel Atkins. Hook 'em. Shout out to Ariel. I like that. Last thing, what is your pregame playlist like?
Man, pregame playlist. We'll throw in some Burna Boy,
Okay.
some Drake, some Drake, some Lil Baby. Uh, yeah, that's hard. That's hard. Lil Baby. Drake, maybe some Future, a little bit of Future.
Okay, I like this little
Yeah.
playlist. All right, I like that. Now, we
Yeah.
start this podcast off with what is different in a game, and I like to end with the person, with the guest. So, what would be different about Joanne in the next 3 to 5 years?
In the next 3 to 5 years, I feel like I'll have my career in the right direction where I want it to be. Hopefully, hopefully I'll be starting my own business or doing my own ventures on the side. Um, Maybe get being able to be in a spot financially and mentally where I can contribute back to my community, give back to my community, in a substantial way, of course. And I think those are the things at the top of my list.
Okay. Well, there you
Yeah.
go. I love it. I love it. Again, really, really good episode. If you could tell the parents, the players, one, where to find you, and just leave them with a piece of advice, whatever's on your heart.
Yeah, definitely on Instagram, Joanne_AT. You can hit me up whenever. I'm on Twitter, same username. I'm super available. Whoever wants advice, whether you're, you know, playing in high school, about to go to college, anything about basketball life, anything that I've been through that could help you, I'm more than happy to share. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Any piece of advice you would give to a parent or player?
Um, just player, stay true to yourself. Um, Life is ebbs and flows. Like don't be so reactive to things being good or things being bad. Like that's like being living is a part of being on the mountain and being in the
Mm.
valley. So just being able to go through things makes you stronger, basically. So yeah.
I love it. All right. All right. Thank y'all for tuning in to another episode. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button. Subscribe. Y'all be watching, but y'all not subscribing. Subscribe, and hit the like button. You can also follow on Apple or Spotify. If you want to keep up with the page, it's just Different Pod on Instagram, Facebook. We really don't be on Facebook like that, but Facebook and Twitter. Also, the Different merch has released just the V-Day collection. So make sure you go check out the site. It will be linked in the show notes. Check out the site. The store will close. I think it's January 28th. I think the store will close. Go get some merch. We'll see y'all next week.
All right.